We have talked about this before. Your results are not going to be the be-all and end-all of your life. There'll be young people who'll get into what they want to do, and they might end up doing it for a short time and then move into another area. Or they might decide to move into other employment or other professions altogether and not go to university. Well, they don't need to.
There's a couple of very good examples of people who didn't do that well at school who are sitting in this studio right now, isn't there?
Well, there's plenty of examples along those lines, but you don't have to do the HSC. You don't have to have a tertiary study. Cham Tang is a very good example of that. Arrived with his parents and brother as a baby from Vietnam on a boat. Didn't do all that well at high school, but doing very, very well now as an entrepreneur. But look, let him tell us more. He's from Authentic Education. Hello, Cham.
Hi, how you going, John and Gary?
Not too bad.
Well. Thanks for joining us, Cham. Now, just tell us about your exams and how badly you actually did in them.
They went extremely badly. So I went to Fort Street High School, which is a selective school, so everyone was expecting me to get great marks. But I got 49.45 in my first time I did it, and I actually repeated and got 51.2 the second time. Well, pretty badly. At
least you lifted in the second year. You obviously really applied yourself.
Yeah, I really stepped it up a notch that time.
Why do you think that's the case, Cham? Because obviously and you'll tell us in a little moment about how successful you've been with your own business, but were you a person who is smart but just the schoolroom and the classroom just doesn't really work for you?
Yeah, I think it was all to do with purpose. Like, no one ever told me why I was studying so hard, and I just looked at that university admissions book, and everything in the book, I thought I had to pick one of these 32 things to spend the rest of my life doing, but none of them really sounded exciting to me at all.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure. I went to Sydney High, so the idea of these selective schools, there is that pressure. Everyone's talking about getting into one of those top subjects, and particularly, and you'd be aware of this, Asian parents are putting pressure on their kids to go and study medicine or law. Is that right? Yeah,
for sure. I think the top ones are like medicine, law, to become a pharmacist or a dentist. They're definitely the top ones. But it's so hard. That's like 99 point something, which is absolutely ridiculous from where I stood at my marks.
So with a pretty poor academic performance, you've gone on to create a business called Authentic Education. Tell us what that does.
So we help people do what they love for a living, and we do that through personal development and business courses. And we really run live events for people so that they can come in and learn just the steps of what to do if not only they didn't get their HSC marks, but some people did get the marks they wanted, but now they're halfway through their career and they're thinking, there's got to be more to life than a career that you perhaps aren't in love with.
And particularly when we read nowadays that because of the changing workplace and the way our roles are changing, some people now leaving school could end up with 4, 5, 6 different occupations during their working life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy as well. And I think sometimes that is. I mean, I know some friends like that as well. They're just perpetually postponing things because they're not quite sure about their purpose, and it's easier to just pick another degree and go for it and not have to think about it for the next 3 years, as opposed to knuckle down and ask yourself hard questions about who you are and what you want to get out of life.
Now, you've actually been successful without that great academic record, but I've just had a couple of alarm bells go off because I've just seen a note here that says Authentic Education helps thousands of students recognise their potential by blending spirituality and modern science, Eastern philosophy and Western strategy. Now, you're not all sitting in a room with your legs crossed chanting Om, are you?
No, not at all. But there's a lot of people in this new age world that believe in things that they can't necessarily see. And I'm not talking about, manifestation or The Secret or anything like that. But I guess if you go down that path of meditation, there are things available to us that you can't necessarily see. And on the other side, people want hard facts, the science. So we balance both of them. And really, we realize that it's just the one truth. But yeah, no, we're not sitting down chanting and singing Kumbaya or anything like that.
You've talked about people doing what they want to do. So you say you're a young kid in Sydney. Your parents mightn't have a lot of money. You might be from a big family, so you're not going to rely on your parents to even buy a house. So you're in a situation where, say you decide, I want to be a teacher or I want to be a police officer. I'll pick those two. They're not going to be giving you huge incomes, certainly in the early years, doing those jobs, but they are phenomenal careers and very rewarding careers. So what do you tell people? So, I want to go and become a copper.
Well, if money is not important to them and they don't think they're going to make huge amounts, then you look at the fulfillment, because you can get paid in dollars or you can get paid in fulfillment. Both are important.
Yeah.
But I would say, look at your other options. If you only think that your two options in life are a teacher or a copper, then you're not really broadening your horizons. You could be a business owner, which is unlimited opportunities. You could be a professional investor, a radio.
Being a teacher's phenomenal, though, isn't it? I mean, you have enormous rewards being a teacher. We don't reward them as much as we should, do we?
No, not nearly as much. And it's critically important because it's our future generation.
Yep.
But there's different roles of a teacher. These days, online education is huge.
Yep.
You could be a teacher online.
Yep.
Doesn't necessarily have to be in a classroom of 30 people.
Yep, and you're doing that in your way now. Cham, lovely to talk to you. Authentic Education. People can look that up and find out what you're all about as well. Thanks for talking to us today.